ahead with speaker number 2. Our next speaker, Jack Kantola, is fulfilling assignment number 2 in the New Pathways Educational Program. The challenge in this assignment is to do a speech on any subject the speaker chooses. Jack spent most of his work career managing manufacturing companies. Today, he will share with us an experience that taught him a lot about working in a corporate environment. In 1979, he accepted a job as general manager of Microdot Inserts, a small operating unit in Northwest Industries, a large corporation. Speaking for 5 to 7 minutes, the title of the speech is Shameless Self-Promotion. Please help me welcome Jack Kantola.
They said I was crazy. Crazy for suggesting to my boss that I deserved an 11% salary increase. They looked at me and laughed and said, "It'll never happen." Madam Toastmaster, most welcome guest and fellow Toastmasters. In November of 1979, I went to work for Microdot Inserts, a small, money-losing operation within Microdot Industries, which had 26 operating units. Microdot Industries, in turn, was a part of Northwest Industries, which had another dozen major operating units. Big corporate world, something I had never experienced. When it came time for my first annual performance appraisal, how many of you have gone through that? Performance reviews? I was a little apprehensive. This is the way it works. My boss would sit down and put down his notes about my operational successes and failures based on my position description and my goals and objectives. The position description was a general statement about what my job involved and what I was responsible for. The goals and objectives quantified what I was supposed to achieve that year. So he would write down this review, and then he would suggest a salary increase. He would recommend a salary increase. That whole unit then would go to corporate office in Darien, Connecticut, who would then approve or disapprove what he was recommending. Ultimately, I would find myself sitting in his office, and he would share with me what he had written in his proposal. He would share the successes that I had and the failures that I had, the things I needed to improve. And then he would tell me that my salary increase was kind of like the average of everybody in the industry, maybe like 4% in those days back in '79. And then he would ask me for comments. And I would point out the 6 or 8 successes that he had failed to mention in this performance review. The amazing thing is he got all the failures right, every one of them in incredible detail, but he missed a bunch of successes that I had during the year. Needless to say, I left that performance review less than excited. I went back to my office, and over the next few days I contemplated, what could I do? I knew I had to do something about this. This wasn't working. I had hired in, and I was in the bottom 25% of my salary range. They changed the salary range, increased it approximately 3 or 4% every year. At the rate I was going, I would never get out of the bottom 25%. I would stay there for eternity. So I came up with a plan. Shameless self-promotion. Every quarter, every 3 months, I would submit to my boss a performance report for that past quarter. I would identify the successes that we had during the quarter. I would also discuss those areas that I needed to work on. And then I would submit that to him. Then on the last performance review or performance report that I did prior to my performance appraisal, I would suggest how much I deserved as a salary increase. And that second year is when I made the suggestion that I deserved 11% salary increase. Shameless self-promotion. Now there are some things you have to remember if you're going to use this approach. Some things that I learned. Number one is, don't embellish your successes. And number two is, don't leave out those things that you need to work on. Be totally honest in terms of what you're submitting to the group. My boss was Bill Bear Myers. He was a big guy and had no fear of telling you exactly what he thought. And so, be honest with them. They have an uncanny way of knowing if you're lying, if you're not telling the truth. The second thing is, you learn from the process. I found that when I started putting those performance reports together every quarter, I became more intent on achieving successes within my operating unit. The third thing is, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. All they can do is say no. So I went through this process, and the amazing thing is I became a better manager as a result of that. We took this little money-losing operation, and within 3 years, we had made it one of the most profitable operating units within the company. In fact, the third year we won Microdot Industries Manufacturing Excellence Award. I got a plaque at $5,000, not bad. And we went on to win it 2 more years in a row. Then I got transferred to England to another money-losing operation. Which is a whole other speech in and of itself. Fellow Toastmasters, shameless self-promotion works. Oh, by the way, that 11% increase I requested, I didn't get it. But I got 8%, twice of what I would have gotten in other times. And I earned a nickname from my boss of "Oh Humble One." Try it, folks. Shameless self-promotion works if you do it properly.